Okay, in this video, I'll be showing you how to beat Martin on chess.com. Okay, so, the main goal of chess is to checkmate the king. And how are we going to do that if our pieces are, like, nowhere near him? So, what we have to do first is get our pieces out. We can do that by pushing this pawn, which lets out the bishop, or queen potentially, and our knight at the same time. We could push d4, and you could also let out the bishop and the queen. So both of these options are perfectly fine, but just follow these principles. Okay? Push your pawn so that you can let out your pieces. Okay? He's right, this is the king's pawn opening. And what we're going to do is just get pieces out. Okay? And he's attacking our pawn. Let's not get fancy and try to take his and he takes ours. Let's just defend it. We're just going to play really safe moves until an error arises. Okay, here we got to let out our bishop. Notice how we can move it here or here. Sorry, not here. These are both fine. But here would be an issue. And the issue would be, how are we going to get this bishop out? If this bishop is on top of the pawn, we can't move it and then the bishop's trapped. So we can move it here. Okay. Let's continue with moving our pieces out. Okay, so he thrusts the pawn forward, but let's see if we can just take it. Okay, so let's do some calculation. We're gonna take, he takes back, and then we take with your piece. And he can't take back because then we take with the knight. And if you don't want to calculate that, you could use the method of counting attackers and defenders. So we've got 1, 2, 3 attackers on this pawn. Now let's count how many defenders he has. It's only got 1 and 2. 3 is greater than 2, so we can take this pawn safely, since there's more attackers. Okay, he castles, so we can take this knight with our pawn. We know our pawn is more valuable than the knight, so we do this exchange. Okay, we're free to take another one. Okay, and he also offers us a rook, so let's take it. You can promote to anything you want here. Go into a queen. Okay. And now we want to get our rook to this more active column, which is called a file. So to do that, we're going to castle. Okay, now rook is doing a lot more, putting pressure on this pawn. Okay, he has a knight here, but let's count how many attackers there are. Got 1, 2, and how many defenders? He's only got 1, so we can take this knight for free. Okay, he doesn't see that the knight is defending, so we take back. Okay, let's keep getting our pieces out. We're not going to try to do anything fancy, we're just going to play normal chess. At this level, you don't have to play fancy moves, you can just play normal stuff and eventually they'll fall. Okay? So when you're playing soccer, imagine the opponent team has 6 players and yours has 7. Just keep subtracting 1 from both teams and see what happens. See, because you would see who had the better advantage. Like it would be 7 versus 6, subtract 1, it would be 6 versus 5, then 5 versus 4, then 3 versus 2, and then just 2 versus 1. Clearly a 2 versus 1 is a win. So that's the same thing in chess. Let's count how many pieces he has. He's got 1, 2, 3. How many do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If possible, we want to turn this 6 versus 3 into like a 5 versus 1, basically. We just want to keep reducing the players until the advantage is really clear. Okay, let's keep trying to trade pieces as possible. I'm just going to move the queen out of the way here so this other rook can come out. Okay, and here, notice how we can't take this pawn just yet because then our rook would fall. But in this case, since we're up so much material, I think this trade is fine. So we can do that. And notice here, next to our name, it says plus 17. So we know we're doing good. Okay, and now when you're at this stage of the game, where you just have a ton of pieces versus their king, what you want to do is just sneak them all closer and closer. This is what we're going to do here. Okay. You can really do any pathway with the queen. You can do here, 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 here. But I'm going to go here. The idea is we're going to target this square and get checkmate. Okay, so that's how you beat Martin. Let's do it one more time just to show it's not a fluke. Okay, we can do it with the other pawn now, the queen's pawn. And we have the same ideas, just get your pieces out and make logical moves. Okay. Let's get our knight out. Let's get our other knight out. Let's get the bishop out. Okay, he trades. This is not a problem. And here, notice that I took with this pawn, the e pawn, and not the g pawn. The reason I took it with this pawn is because it lets out my bishop at the same time. So like it's like a multi-purpose move. Okay, now we can get our bishop out as well. We have a few choices. You could go here, here, or here. I'm going to choose this one. It's really just preference in this case. Okay, he attacks our bishop. Let's move it back. Okay, notice that this pawn is actually undefended. So you can just take it. Okay, he marches forward with the king. And since this king is starting to get exposed, we want all forces to come. Okay, so we're going to get the queen closer. And now we're going to get the rook out, which is why I castled long. Okay, this is a great thing because when we take with this pawn, we let our rook and our queen out. Okay, he offers us more stuff. So let's take it. Let's get the other rook into the action, which we're just sitting here babysitting this pawn. Okay, and now it's time to attack. We can begin with the queen or the bishop. Now I'm going to begin with the queen. Okay, we're going to put more pressure on this knight since it's pinned and cannot move. Because notice, if he moved the knight, we would take the king, so the knight cannot move. We're slowly going to add pressure and pressure. If we went here, he could technically add more defenders like here. So before I move the bishop here, which blocks the way of the rook, I'm going to put the rook here first, and then the bishop here. Okay, there. Now we have 3 attackers on here. Okay, he offers a queen, so we take it. Okay, here we have 3 choices. I'm just going to push the pawn and make another queen, which he doesn't stop. So now we have 3 attackers this knight versus just these 2 defenders. So we can take it now. Okay, and we can take with the queen. Okay, we just take the bishop. This is easy chess. And here there's a gazillion checkmates, but I think this is the easiest one. Okay, I hope that was a helpful video showing how you could play either e4 or d4 to beat Martin.